here that it is under 40 degrees out in the Pacific Northwest. The sun is shining, and I'm in a 1932 Ford Hotrod Tribute. This thing is spectacular. Most of the Ford hot rods you see at a car show are actually not Fords in any way, shape, or form, other than the original design of the body silhouette. In the case of a 32 Roadster, they actually originally only made about 12,000, I think it's 12,080, and only 61% of them were flathead V8 cars. So really, of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them out there, most of them are more modern replicas made in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And in this case, this is actually a fairly new car. It's a 2010 on a fully customized boxed frame. And the body, it's fiberglass. But when it's going down the street, you can't tell. And in fact, the quality of this is so much better than the mass-produced original. It's pretty phenomenal. I feel like I'm the most American person on the road right now, because not only am I in a 32 Ford design body, but it's being powered by a Chevy small block engine. And even the paint color is 2008 Chrysler. It's called Inferno Red Effect. So this beautiful domestic auto market amalgamation is just, well, it makes me want to say, oh, say, can you see? Proud to be an American. So why are people so enamored with the 32 Ford Roadsters and the Deuce Coupes, the 32 Coupes? Well, a lot of it has to do with the fact that this was representative of a very pretty era in car design. Plus, 32 was Ford's first year of the famous flathead V8. Now, it's not the first V8 in production. In fact, the first production V8 was in 1904. And Cadillac had it in the teens. But by 32, the flathead was the most affordable V8 you could get. And it was producing over 60 horsepower, which in an era when most cars on the road were only doing, well, about 40 to 50, a 32 original Roadster can hit 78 miles an hour. Now this car, no flathead in here. It's a small block Chevy 350, producing over 300 horsepower. That's basically 5.5 times the original flathead. And when you take into account that an original 32 Deuce Roadster only weighed 2,200 pounds, and this is around the same, that's an extreme power to weight ratio. So what is acceleration like? Well, let's put it this way. Hang on. Wow! It's kind of nuts, but that's what part of the fun. Can it get squirrely? Yeah, it gets swirly. But, you know, that's why you get one of these things. You know, if you want to, you know, 2032 Ford Roadster hot rod. This is a 4-link suspension and with really much wider tires. In fact, it's 14s up front, 15s in the rear, and they're pretty wide, so you got a much larger contact patch. It totally changes it. I wouldn't say it's a modern car, but it feels more like a muscle car on handling steroids. As for the brakes, well, they're pretty spectacular. And that's because we have discs up front, drums in the rear, but they've got great pedal feel to them. You don't actually have to use that much pedal effort, which is nice. You want to talk ergonomics? Okay, well, first of all, there's this windshield header that's right in my line of view, but I'm 6'4", so the best thing to do is either crouch down or look over the top. It's a little chilly today, but that's okay. Then there are these pedals. In a 32, you have a steering column that runs right between your pedals. So I can either pull my right foot back off the accelerator and move it around to the brake and hit my knee on the steering wheel, or I can just use my left foot to use the brake, and that's what I'm doing today. So one of the greatest things about the hot rod revolution of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, and right up until this day in 2022, is that you take a beautiful design that's just timeless and classic, and you throw the most reliable parts that produce great performance, and you just get in it, you turn the key, and you go. And no matter where you go, people of all ages just love it. I mean, you've got a body that is just so gorgeous, and then you throw in modern, comfortable bucket seats. You got a